All right, so are you ready to really dive into something that I know a lot of you have been wanting to explore, which
Okay.
is how to really supercharge your English learning journey
Right.
and actually enjoy the process?
Yeah.
We are taking a deep dive into this guide called Learn English Fast: Engaging Lessons 2025.
Okay.
It's packed with insights that could honestly change how you approach learning a language.
I think so too.
Remember those dry grammar drills from school?
Uh-huh.
Get ready to say goodbye to those.
What I find really fascinating about this guide is this sense of urgency that it captures. You know,
Yeah.
it really reflects the reality that in our fast-paced world that we live in,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
people need to acquire language skills quickly
Yeah.
and apply them in practical settings.
So it's not just about textbook knowledge anymore, right? It's
Exactly.
about confidently navigating real-world situations,
Yes.
ordering food, giving a presentation,
Right, yeah.
all that.
And the guide points out that while traditional language learning methods have their place, they often fall short in preparing learners for real-world communication.
Yeah.
Think back to those early language classes,
Oh, yeah.
the endless verb conjugations,
Oh, yeah.
the fear of making a mistake,
Yes.
the disconnect between textbook scenarios and actual conversations.
Oh, I can definitely relate to that. I remember feeling so self-conscious about my pronunciation that I would avoid speaking altogether.
Right.
And that fear, definitely held me back.
Makes sense.
So this guide is proposing Engaging Lessons 2025 as a solution, and it honestly sounds pretty revolutionary.
It really is. It's about ditching the one-size-fits-all approach and embracing personalization,
Okay.
harnessing the power of technology, and most importantly, making the learning process engaging and enjoyable.
Okay, that's got my attention.
Yeah.
But how does this Engaging Lessons 2025 model actually work?
Uh-huh.
What are the key principles behind it?
One of the foundational pillars is goal setting. But not just any goals. The guide emphasizes the importance of setting SMART goals.
SMART goals.
Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
So instead of simply saying, I want to learn English, I might say, I want to be able to confidently give a presentation in English at a conference in 6 months.
Exactly.
That kind of clarity.
Having a clear, well-defined goal gives you direction and motivation.
Okay.
It helps you stay focused and track your progress.
And that brings us to the next pillar, active learning, which I'm guessing is about being more than just a passive recipient of information.
Exactly. It's about actively participating in the learning process.
Okay.
Speaking from day one, asking questions, embracing mistakes as opportunities to learn,
Yeah.
even teaching others.
Oh, interesting.
Studies have shown that when we're actively engaged, we retain information much more effectively.
So instead of just reading about grammar rules, I should be actively using them, maybe writing practice sentences or trying to explain them to a friend.
That's a great example.
Okay.
And it ties in with another important concept, immersion. Okay.
Imagine creating an English-speaking environment around yourself, even if you're not living in an English-speaking country.
I can see how that would be beneficial, but realistically, how can someone with a busy schedule fit immersion into their day?
It doesn't have to be a huge time commitment.
Okay.
It could be as simple as switching your phone's language settings to English, listening to English music or podcasts during your commute, or even just labeling objects around your house with their English names.
Interesting.
The key is to find ways to weave English into your daily life.
So we're setting SMART goals, actively engaging with the material, and immersing ourselves in the language.
Yes.
What else does this Engaging Lessons 2025 model emphasize?
Well, it would be impossible to ignore the role of technology.
Right.
But we're not just talking about your standard language learning apps, although those can be helpful.
Okay.
This is about harnessing cutting-edge technology to create truly immersive and personalized learning experiences.
Oh, this is where it gets really futuristic, right?
I've heard about things like VR language immersion pods and AI-powered storytelling games. Are those just gimmicks, or do they actually have educational value?
There's definitely substance behind the hype.
Okay.
For example, VR could allow you to practice ordering food in a virtual London cafe
Wow.
or giving a presentation to a simulated audience.
That's pretty cool.
It creates a safe and engaging environment to practice real-world scenarios.
That sounds amazing. It's like stepping into another world without even leaving your living room.
Ah,
But isn't there a risk that all this technology could become a distraction?
that's a valid concern.
Yeah.
The key is to use technology strategically.
Okay.
It should complement your learning, not dictate it.
Right.
And that's where personalization comes in.
Right. So this model isn't about replacing teachers with robots. It's
Hmm.
about using technology as a tool to enhance the learning experience.
Precisely. And personalization is another core pillar of this approach.
Yeah.
It's about understanding your individual learning style, whether you're a visual auditory or kinesthetic learner, and choosing resources and methods that resonate with you.
So if I'm someone who learns best by doing food, maybe I'd skip those long grammar explanations and jump right into a role-playing scenario in a VR environment.
That's a great example. And it's not just about the format of the lessons.
Okay.
It's also about setting your own pace, focusing on topics that interest you, and tracking your progress to stay motivated.
This is starting to sound like a choose-your-own-adventure for language learning.
I like that.
But isn't there a danger of making it too easy or losing sight of the core skills that need to be mastered?
It's all about finding the right balance.
Okay.
The goal is to make learning enjoyable and engaging without sacrificing rigor. And that's where gamification comes in.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about how gamification can be used effectively in language learning.
Okay.
Isn't it just about playing games?
It's more than just playing games.
Yeah.
It's about incorporating game mechanics challenges and a sense of achievement into the learning process.
So like what?
Think about earning points for mastering vocabulary,
Yeah.
competing with other learners on leaderboards,
Oh, okay.
or unlocking new levels as you progress.
I can see how that could be motivating, especially for someone who enjoys friendly competition. But some people might argue that gamification is just a fad.
Yeah.
Will it really lead to long-term language acquisition?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And one that researchers are actively exploring.
Uh-huh.
There's growing evidence that gamification can indeed enhance engagement motivation and even knowledge retention. It taps into our natural desire for rewards and recognition.
So instead of slogging through verb conjugations, I might be trying to beat my high score in a vocabulary game or earn a badge for mastering a grammar concept.
And it doesn't have to be limited to digital games.
Okay.
You can even incorporate gamification into your offline learning by setting personal challenges, creating reward systems, or simply finding creative ways to make your study routine more enjoyable.
I love the idea of finding ways to make language learning fun.
You too.
It takes the pressure off
Yes,
and allows you to focus on the joy of discovery.
precisely. And at the end of the day, the goal is to communicate effectively, not just to ace exams or impress grammar purists.
So this model is shifting the focus from grammatical perfection to real-world fluency and confidence, right?
Absolutely. It's about being able to understand and be understood in real life situations, even if your grammar isn't flawless.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of ground already: goal setting, active learning, immersion technology, personalization, and gamification.
Right.
It's clear that this Engaging Lessons 2025 model is quite comprehensive.
It is.
But is there a unifying principle that ties all of these elements together?
Yes, there is.
What is it?
And it's arguably the most important pillar of all cultivating a growth mindset.
I've heard a lot about growth mindset in recent years. Can you explain what it means in the context of language learning?
It's about believing in your ability to learn and improve even when it gets challenging.
Okay.
It's about viewing mistakes as opportunities for growth, embracing challenges as stepping stones,
Yeah.
and focusing on progress rather than perfection.
I think that's a really important point. Learning a language can be frustrating at times.
Yes.
There will be moments when you feel stuck,
Uh-huh.
when you make mistakes, when you want to give up.
That's where the growth mindset comes in.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that those challenges are part of the process.
Yeah.
It's about reframing those moments of frustration as opportunities to learn and grow.
So instead of beating myself up for mispronouncing a word, I should view it as a chance to practice and improve.
Exactly. And it's about celebrating those small victories along the way.
Okay.
Mastering a new grammar rule, holding a conversation without feeling flustered, or simply understanding a native speaker without needing them to repeat themselves.
Right.
Those are all wins worth acknowledging.
I can see how a growth mindset would be crucial for staying motivated and persevering through the ups and downs of language learning.
It is.
It's about believing in yourself and your ability to achieve fluency, even when it feels challenging.
Precisely. It's about shifting from a fixed mindset,
Okay.
where you believe your abilities are set in stone, to a growth mindset where you believe you can constantly learn and improve.
That's a really empowering message.
I think so.
So we've explored the core principles of Engaging Lessons 2025,
Right.
goal setting, active learning, immersion, technology, personalization, gamification, and cultivating a growth mindset.
Yes.
But I'm curious to see what these lessons actually look like in practice.
That's a great segue into the next part of our deep dive. Let's take a closer look at some specific examples of Engaging Lessons 2025 in action. As we delve into these innovative approaches,
Yeah.
I find it fascinating to consider the driving forces behind this shift.
Uh-huh.
What's propelling this movement towards engaging and accelerated English learning?
That's a really thought-provoking question on the surface. It seems obvious.
Right?
People want to learn faster and have more fun doing it.
Yeah.
But I suspect there's a deeper layer to this evolution.
You're absolutely right. If we zoom out and look at the bigger picture,
Okay.
we see a world that's becoming increasingly interconnected.
Yeah.
Globalization has made English the lingua franca of business, technology, travel, and even social media.
So it's not just a nice-to-have skill anymore.
Right.
It's often a necessity for success in many fields.
Precisely. Whether you're aiming for a promotion, collaborating with international teams, or simply wanting to connect with people from different cultures,
Yeah.
English fluency has become a key differentiator.
And in a world that's constantly accelerating,
Yeah.
who has the luxury of spending years mastering a language?
Right.
People need to see results, and they need them quickly.
That's where these accelerated learning methods come into play.
Okay.
They acknowledge the urgency and the real-world demands that people face today.
It's about equipping learners with the skills they need to thrive in a globalized society, not just passing exams or memorizing grammar rules.
Exactly. The focus has shifted from linguistic perfection to effective communication.
Okay.
And there's another interesting point that the guide highlights.
Yeah.
The way we communicate is changing as well.
Oh, that's intriguing. What do you mean by that?
Well, in the past, there was a strong emphasis on grammatical accuracy,
Uh-huh.
on speaking what was considered proper English.
Right.
But in today's dynamic, fast-paced world, communication is often more fluid and informal.
So it's less about sounding like a textbook
Right.
and more about conveying your message clearly and efficiently.
Exactly. Think about how we communicate online
Yeah.
through emails, social media, and instant messaging.
Yeah.
It's all about getting the message across quickly,
Uh-huh.
often using abbreviations, slang, and even emojis.
And in a global context, you're likely interacting with people from diverse linguistic backgrounds.
Right.
So clear and concise communication becomes even more crucial.
That's a great point. And that's why these new learning methods prioritize practical communication skills.
Okay.
They focus on building fluency and confidence in everyday conversations,
Uh-huh.
understanding different accents and dialects, and using English effectively in a variety of real-world scenarios.
It's about being able to navigate the complexities of global communication, not just reciting grammar rules in a classroom setting.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So, while traditional methods still have their place,
Yeah.
it's evident that the future of English learning is moving towards a more dynamic, engaging, and personalized approach.
It's exciting to see how technology and innovative teaching methods are transforming the way we learn languages.
It is.
But before we move on, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier,
Okay.
the importance of cultivating a growth mindset.
Yes. This is a concept that's particularly relevant to language learning.
Okay.
It's about adopting a belief system that sees challenges as opportunities for growth and embraces mistakes as valuable learning experiences.
I'm starting to understand how this shift in perspective can make a big difference.
It does.
It's about moving from a fixed mindset, where you believe your abilities are predetermined,
Right.
to a growth mindset, where you believe you can constantly learn and improve.
Exactly. And this shift is essential for language learning,
Okay.
which can be a challenging and sometimes frustrating journey.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There will inevitably be times when you feel stuck,
Uh,
when you make mistakes, when you're tempted to give up.
I think we've all been there.
Yes.
It's easy to get discouraged when you hit a roadblock in your language learning journey.
That's where the growth mindset becomes so crucial.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that those challenges are an inherent part of the process.
Yeah.
It's about reframing those moments of frustration as opportunities to learn and grow.
So instead of getting bogged down by a grammatical error or a mispronounced word,
Right.
I should see it as a chance to practice and improve.
Exactly. And it's about celebrating those small victories along the way. Mastering a new grammar concept, having a conversation without feeling self-conscious, or understanding a native speaker without asking them to repeat themselves.
Right.
Those are all wins worth acknowledging.
It's about recognizing that every step forward, no matter how small, is a step closer to fluency.
You got it. And here's another key aspect of a growth mindset.
Yeah.
It's about seeking and embracing feedback,
Uh-huh.
using it constructively to improve.
That's a great point. I know it can be tempting to get defensive when someone corrects our grammar or pronunciation,
Yeah,
but it's important to remember that they're not attacking us. They're helping us learn.
right. And often those corrections are the key to unlocking a new level of understanding or fluency.
So instead of shying away from feedback,
Yeah.
we should actively seek it out,
Yes.
whether it's from a teacher, a language partner, or even a language learning app.
Exactly. And when we receive feedback,
Yeah.
we should view it as a gift,
Okay.
an opportunity to refine our skills and get closer to our goal.
It's about embracing the fact that we are all lifelong learners and there's always room for improvement.
I love that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And with a growth mindset, we can approach language learning with a sense of curiosity, resilience, and determination,
Okay.
knowing that we have the potential to achieve fluency regardless of the obstacles we might encounter.
So to sum up the segment on mindset, it's clear that cultivating a growth mindset is just as important as choosing the right learning methods or resources.
Absolutely. It's the foundation upon which successful language learning is built.
Well, I feel like we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
I agree.
From the urgent need for accelerated learning to the exciting possibilities of engaging lessons 2025.
Yeah.
We've explored the pillars of effective learning, the transformative power of technology, and the importance of crafting a personalized learning plan.
Yes.
And of course, we delved into the crucial role of cultivating a growth mindset.
And through it all, we've witnessed a clear shift in the landscape of English learning, moving away from traditional rigid approaches
Right.
toward a more dynamic, engaging, and personalized experience.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling incredibly inspired and eager to embark on my own English learning adventure.
Me too. And I'm confident that with the right mindset, the right tools, and a willingness to embrace the journey, anyone can achieve fluency in English and unlock a world of opportunities.
But before we get too carried away with our future language learning plans,
Yeah.
there's one more vital aspect of this guide that we need to explore.
Yep.
It's all about taking action and turning those plans into reality.
You're right. We've discussed the what and the why of engaging English learning, but now it's time to delve into the how,
Yes.
the practical steps you can take to start your own language learning journey today.
And that's exactly what we'll be covering in the final part of this deep dive. We'll provide you with actionable strategies, tips, and resources to help you create your personalized learning plan and start speaking English with confidence. We've explored this exciting world of engaging lessons 2025.
Yeah.
But now let's get down to brass tacks. How do we actually apply these innovative methods and start our journey towards fluency?
So the guide provides a clear roadmap for crafting a personalized learning plan.
Okay.
And it all begins with getting crystal clear about your why.
So it's not just about vaguely wanting to learn English.
Right.
It's about defining a specific compelling reason
Yes.
that will fuel your motivation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, why do I want to learn English?
Mm-hmm.
Is it to travel the world, connect with loved ones, advance your career, or explore a new culture?
Right.
Having a strong why will guide your choices and keep you going when the going gets tough.
It's like having a compass that points you in the right direction.
Yes.
Once you have that compass set, the next step is to honestly assess your current level of English.
This is where self-awareness comes in.
Okay.
Are you a complete beginner? Someone who can hold basic conversations, or perhaps you already have a solid foundation?
And there's no shame in starting from scratch.
No, not at all.
It's all about setting realistic expectations and choosing resources that align with your current abilities.
Precisely, starting with materials that are too advanced can be overwhelming,
Right.
while materials that are too basic can quickly become boring. Once you have a clear understanding of your starting point, it's time to delve into your learning style.
This is where things get really personalized.
Yes.
Are you a visual learner who thrives on images, diagrams, and videos? Or perhaps you're an auditory learner who absorbs information best through listening to podcasts or audiobooks.
And let's not forget about kinesthetic learners,
Right.
those who prefer hands-on experiences and learn by doing.
Yes.
The key is to identify what works best for you and then seek out resources and methods that align with your individual learning style.
So a visual learner might create flashcards with images and vocabulary words,
Right.
while an auditory learner might record themselves speaking and then listen back to identify areas for improvement.
Those are great examples. And the beauty of Engaging Lessons 2025
Mm-hmm.
is that it embraces this diversity of learning styles. I like that.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Now comes the exciting part, choosing your learning resources.
Yes.
And in 2025, the options are truly mind-boggling.
Oh.
From language learning apps and online courses
Right?
to AI-powered tutors and virtual reality experiences.
It's like a buffet of language learning possibilities.
But with so many choices, it can be overwhelming to know where to start.
That's why it's so important to go back to your why and your learning style.
Okay.
What resources will best support your goals and keep you engaged?
Precisely. If you're someone who thrives on structure and guidance, a well-designed online course might be a good fit.
Right.
If you prefer a more gamified approach, there are countless apps that can turn language learning into a fun and engaging experience.
And there's no rule that says you can only choose one resource.
Right.
You can create your own personalized learning ecosystem,
I like that.
combining different methods and resources to create a dynamic learning experience.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Maybe you combine a traditional textbook with a language exchange app.
Right. Or supplement an online course with English language movies and music. It's all about finding what works best for you.
That's the key.
And once you've chosen your resources, it's crucial to establish a consistent study routine.
Consistency is key.
Yes.
Even if you can only dedicate 15-30 minutes each day, the key is to make language learning a non-negotiable part of your schedule.
It's like going to the gym.
Uh-huh.
You wouldn't expect to see results if you only went once a month.
Right.
The same applies to language learning. Regular practice is essential.
So block out time in your calendar, treat it like an important appointment, and stick to your schedule as much as possible.
And during those study sessions, remember the power of active learning.
Yes.
Don't just passively consume information.
Right.
Engage with it, ask questions, make connections, and apply what you learn.
If you're learning new vocabulary, don't just memorize lists of words.
Okay.
Use those words in sentences. Create stories, draw pictures, whatever helps you make those words stick.
And if you're tackling grammar rules, don't just read about them. Practice applying them in different contexts. Write example sentences, or even try explaining the concepts to someone else.
Teaching is one of the best ways to solidify your own understanding.
Yeah.
And as you're studying, don't forget to immerse yourself in the language as much as possible.
Create an English-speaking environment around yourself, even if you're not living in an English-speaking country. Watch movies in English, listen to English music, read English books, even change your phone's language settings to English.
The more you surround yourself with the language, the more natural it will become. And remember, learning a language doesn't have to be a chore.
Right.
Embrace the fun side of learning.
This is where gamification comes in.
Exactly.
Find ways to turn your learning into a game room. Set challenges, track your progress, reward yourself for achievements, and even compete with yourself or others.
There's so many creative ways to make language learning enjoyable.
Like what?
Maybe you turn vocabulary practice into a scavenger hunt, or create a flashcard game with friends.
Or you could join an online language learning community and participate in challenges and competitions.
And as you're having fun, remember to celebrate those small victories along the way.
Yeah.
Every new word you learn, every conversation you have, every time you understand a native speaker without having to ask them to repeat themselves, those are all wins worth celebrating.
It's about acknowledging your progress and appreciating how far you've come.
And remember, a growth mindset is essential throughout this journey.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Yeah.
View them as learning opportunities, adjust your approach if needed, and keep moving forward.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to ask for help along the way.
Yes.
Connect with a tutor, join a study group, or reach out to online language learning communities.
There's a whole world of support out there for language learners.
Yeah.
So be patient with yourself, enjoy the process, and celebrate every step you take towards fluency.
We've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we?
We have.
From the urgent need for accelerated learning to the exciting possibilities of engaging lessons 2025, we've explored the key principles, the transformative power of technology, and the importance of a personalized approach.
And we've seen how cultivating a growth mindset can make all the difference in your language learning journey.
What stands out to you as the most exciting takeaway from this deep dive?
For me, it's the realization that learning English doesn't have to be a tedious or intimidating task.
Yeah,
It can be an engaging, enjoyable, and even transformative experience.
I agree.
And with these innovative methods, it's becoming more accessible and personalized than ever before.
I completely agree. It's empowering to know that anyone, regardless of their background or learning style, can achieve fluency with the right mindset and the right approach.
So imagine yourself confidently conversing in English, exploring new cultures, connecting with people from all over the world.
Wow.
With these engaging methods, that vision can become a reality.
That's an inspiring thought to leave our listeners with.
I hope so.
Go out there, embrace the journey, and make those English learning dreams come true.